Assalamualaikum and greetings to Madam Dr. Hazria binti Hassan. This is our group assignment 2 for Fundamental of Management by Group 1. So we will discuss about work of Frederick Winslow, Henry Gunn, Henry Fayol, Mary Parker Follett, and Max Weber as it relates to the general administrative approach to management. Okay.
My name is Busha binti Masri. My matric number is A2183235. Describe about Max Weber. Brief explanation on the approach Max Weber. He was born in Erfurt, Prussia, present-day Germany, on April 21, 1894. He enrolled at the University of Heidelberg, but after 2 years left to fulfill his year of military service at Sabah. Max Weber also instituted the belief that an organization must have a defined hierarchical structure and clear rules. Has the following characteristics, which is specialization of labor, a formal set of rules and regulations, well-defined hierarchy within the organization, and impersonality and in the application on rules. Weber lists major principles of the bureaucratic form as follows: is a formal hierarchical structure, rules-based management about functional specialty organization, focus or in-focus mission, impersonal and employment based on technical qualifications. Max Weber approach in today's context. Max Weber was a German sociologist who argued bureaucracy was the most efficient and rational model private business and public office could operate in. Influenced generation of business leaders and politicians well into the 20th century. Max Weber was unlike most workplace leaders today. He also called the bureaucratic theory, stressed strict rules and a firm distribution of power. Next, Max Weber related examples. As an example of the Weberian approach, consider of power of ideas such as nationalism and independence. These movements and many other parts on the world as well as Aboriginal movements with demand for self-determination or self-government to importance of ideas in themselves. Weber's approach also demonstrates the multiple base from which people actually and from which power is derived. Another example might be the independent influence of ideology on the voting patterns of people. Next. Brief explanation on the approach Henry Fayol. He was born in Istanbul, Turkey, July 29, 1841. He died in Paris, France, November 1925. Henry Fayol, a French engineer and main director, born on the outskirts of town, Istanbul in 1841, where his father, an engineer, was appointed inspector of work to build a bridge over Golden. The five basic elements of manager below Fayol's administrative management, theory of planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. Henry Fayol given the 14 principles of management, which is initiative, equity, selection, remuneration of personnel, unity of direction, disciplines, division of work, authority and responsibility, unity of command, subordinate of individual interest to general interest, centralization, order, stability of tenure, and esprit de corps. Next, Henry Fayol principle that can be used by the managers for the effective running of the organization. Strategic management is critical in modern times and can be used to profitability of modern organizations. For a person to reach the management level, he or she should have a sense of responsibility that gives them authority over the juniors. Once a manager is responsible and disciplined, he or she will have authority over his team. Henry Fayol related examples. As mentioned, year of management framework, it can still be used as it was originally written. On the subject of applicability, many people have argued that Fayol's approach is cold and mechanistic. Remember that he was talking about the broader subject of management as opposite to the specific subject of leadership. That is, I would argue that manager tends to be less sympathetic, comparatively cold and calculate, while leadership is more sympathetic, warm, and considerate. Next. Advantage and disadvantage of Max Weber approach. Advantage of Max Weber is equality, straight to rationality. Disadvantage of Weber is one-way communication, exploitation of power, inflexible and rigid methods. Next slide. Advantage and disadvantage of Henry Fayol approach. Advantage of Henry Fayol is occasion organizer sort out a wide assortment of events, including gatherings, surveys, and gatherings. Ending plans to grant distinguish reasonable settings, treat subjects and occurring abilities, praising customers and meeting the necessities. And
Okay, my name is Nurul Ain binti Hassan. My metric number A21A3409. Introduction of Mary Parker Follett. She was American worker, management consultant, philosopher, and pioneer in the field of organization theory and organizational behavior. She was born in 1868 in Quincy, Massachusetts. She studied at University of Cambridge and then moved to study a Society for College Instruction of Women in Cambridge from 1890 to 1861. Her works published many books related to organizational theory such as The Speaker of the House of Representatives, The New State, Creative Experience, and last published after she died was Dynamic Administration. She also distinguished herself in field of management by being sought out by US President Theodore Roosevelt as his personal consultant on managing not-for-profit, non-governmental, and voluntary organizations. Fowler was died in 1933 in Boston, Massachusetts. Next, your viewpoint about the approach in today's context. Management theory is defined as a concept that encompasses various management strategies that include internal structure, that include tools such as framework and guidelines that can be implemented in modern corporate organizational structure, referring to different department organization or business unit in a company. This is said so because nowadays the management of a company has changed due to various factors such as time, cultural influence, and economic condition of a countries and so on. In addition, management is now more systematic and facilitates all organizations to perform tasks without any injustice or bias. Furthermore, with the availability for various technologies that were to further facilitate to tasks performed by its employees without any negligence or mistake. Next, oh, a related example can be among the example that can be proven related the management today is to be able to establish a direct relationship between employees and manager. Therefore, holding regular meeting or discussing all tasks in person in an is an alternative way of implementing this principle. Next, the coordinate activity should be learned and mastered quickly from an early stage. If an organization is inadequate, it causes the management of the company to become unmanaged or unsystematic. Every organization in a company is very important and responsible regardless of their position and status. Next, the advantage Ken found on Follett theory was stress the importance of the personal interaction between management and workers, coordinate different levels of the organization through direct contact regardless of their position. All conflict that occur need to be controlled for the sake of the value of participation in the app unit as well as the use of psychology approach in organizational management. The disadvantage of wallet theory was use the word art to define management. This element art involve the process of applying knowledge, but management is not just the use of knowledge. Moreover, many argue that the theory issue by Follett about integration is merely an illusion because it's difficult to put into practice every day. Next, in conclusion, Mary Parker Follett was called the mother of modern administration, and she was one of the pioneers in creating a participator and integrative system of administration. The theory of Bob Follett is the organizer of the theory of administration, which states the management is an art in performing a job through others. Furthermore, Follett focused on how to develop as well as maintain democracy through differentiation of integration and competition of interest. And last, Follett thinks that his concept of thinking occurs the development of human resource. Okay, thank you. Next.
My name is Muhammad Nur Aiman bin Muhammad Nur Razmi. My matrix card number is 121A3329. Today I will explaining about the Friedrich Wieslow, which is brief explanation of the approach. Friedrich Wieslow was a writer who lived in the 19th century. Taylor came from the United States and worked as a mechanical designer. His system for increasing mechanical efficiency made him famous. In the field of board counseling, he was a pioneer. Taylor was the one of the scholarly forefathers of the efficiency movement, and his idea had a broad impact on the progressive era, 1890 century and 1920 years. Taylor's proficiency tactics will outline in his book, The Principle of Scientific Management, published in 1911. Next, I'm going to explain about Friedrich Wiesler approach into this context and related example. For approach into this context, logical administration employs a method that is both rigid and straightforward. In today's organization, logical management is also essential. An organization management structure should include in underlying framework that determines the roles and various group, class, and individual. It also increasing efficiency and importing logical administration into current activity, increase execution and the organization ability to compete worldwide. For a related example, in their activities, more organizations in the 21st century have used logical administration practice. A true model in the American drive-through eatery known around the world is for its superior management talents. In his book, Thomas 2007, he recognized Ford as the creator of the car sequential assembly system. This American corporation adopted Ford's management approach, which backed up Taylor's idea. After Taylor's pioneered the concept of work division, Ford established it has a standard practice in the auto industry. It was approved by grilling the burger, topping with natural tomatoes, and wiping in the rolls. Lastly, store used Taylor's concept of division and labor and specialization to reach their goals. Next, I'm going to explain about advantage and disadvantage of Frederick Winslow approach. The main benefit that is production quality has approved. The logical administration approach the accountable for increased profitability because it focus on ongoing modification to corporate activity. Directors and representative are working together effectively, resulting in better teamwork. The board and directors and representatives have a friendly relationship which aids the association proficiency. The ability to control come next as a benefit. The most prevalent reason for the popularity of the logical management scholars is that they allow supervisor to keep track in their employees. Next is Henry Gunn. I will explain about brief explanation of the approach. It was the first used as the P-switch system differential in 1901. Employees receive a bonus in addition to their regular per day if they complete the task of the day. Employees have been able to make life cool as a result of this technique, which has often more than double production efficiency. By supplying the gun, brought the innovation as a foreman with a bonus if all employees fulfill their required for performance. He was also include the guns bar chart. Next, Henry Gunn approach in today's context. Today's Gantt chart applies the modern planning methods and production. It is translate and use the 8 language worldwide, which is Japan, Spain, and the Soviet Union from 1920 onwards. Based on the tool charting device, use the planning, organization, and control of the 2-point critical path method (CPM) and the Lotus 1, 2, 3 and complex organization. For Henry Gunn related example is Gantt charts can be used to plan the time required to complete the project and avoid delays. The work can be carried out the more organized manner according to the sequence of the process of the project. Be also able to see real progress and identify weakness in the work progress over the course of the period. Um, there is a advantage and disadvantage for Henry Gunn approach. For advantage is it relative, basic and straightforward to use any worker, making project planning flexible and realistic. A Gantt chart provides a clear picture of a project and the task is required. And the lastly, for the advantage is a Gantt chart project is simple for stakeholders and comprehend the timetable to gain clarity on the project breakdown, allowing them to quickly determine their responsibility. For disadvantage for Henry Gantt approach is it updating a Gantt chart takes time. It also a lack of collaborative function in one of the Gantt chart drawbacks. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.